So I'm here with Total Biscuit, the leader, president, CEO, and main man of the TR. Is that correct?
I believe Glorious Benevolent Leader is in there somewhere, but you mostly got it right. It's a long title, it's understandable.
Please don't execute me publicly.
You get one.
Okay, all right, awesome. So you're excited to be here, I'm sure. Why don't we just jump right into tactics? How is the TR gonna come ahead?
Tactical superiority, as always. To be honest, I don't think the rest of the guys really have a shot at all. We've got the numbers, we've got the training, we've got the experience. We have massive numbers of organized outfits ready to completely roll this thing. So we've kind of got compartmentalized strategies. Obviously, we don't want to go out and say, this is exactly what we plan to do, because those strategies have already been formulated, like weeks in advance by the outfits, and then they are tasked with carrying them out independently to everybody else. So what we're most likely going to do is rapidly sweep the continents in question without too much resistance, simply by avoiding the vast meat of the fight, and when they are forced into a corner, then we'll just roll over them.
And you got wind of the 6-month plan, the SOE 6-month plan, and you saw the Reddit kind of deal. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
The roadmap's a really good idea because it allows the player base to express what they view as the most important thing. And as you can see right now, as of the time of this recording, they're thinking the spawn tube tunnels is the most important, simply because there's been this big desire over the last couple of months to rapidly shift the metagame into the favor of the defenders, because that means better battles for everybody. So it's good that that's there, and that there's a good way of clearly giving that feedback to the devs themselves, and it's also great that SOE is actually open to that kind of feedback.
Let's say magically that your plus sign got 3,000, your vote counted for 3,000. What would you vote for?
I think that the tunnels are actually a good thing, but I would probably put mine towards warp gate rotation. And that's simply on the basis that there are certain setups with these warp gates right now that really only favor certain strategies, and it means that we always end up in the same kind of situations. And that actually isn't good for freshness when it comes to the game. It's also not good for really determining balance, because you then sometimes get false balance whining on the basis of the fact that the TR just happen to have access to this base, which happens to have this certain formation, which is very difficult to attack, and so on and so forth. So if you start rotating that around once a week, it keeps the game fresher. It means we visit places we don't usually visit, and it also means that we can take a clearer look at the overall faction balance without having to worry about this sort of meta element of which territory is easiest for us to access from our warp gate.
And finally, the last question I have for you is, where would you like to see the meta in, let's say, 5 years, distant future, when a lot of things are ironed out and a lot more content has been added to the game?
9-continent setup would be great. Home continents would be also fantastic. I think maybe going back to a sanctuary system would be quite nice, or just making the warp gates bigger, because, my God, there's just not enough space to organize everything. Obviously, increase the variety of vehicles across the board. I want to see the assault buggies back. I want to see some more variety in the air as well as on the ground. It would also be nice to allow for a bit more access around the continents, because right now we have this no-fly zone that really needs, I feel, to be eliminated, or at least moved outwards, so that we can use the coasts to our advantage. Because that means you get a more strategic metagame, because you have the ability to sneak like large convoys of galaxies or sunderes around the coast, which was what we were able to in PlanetSide 1, and it enabled us to mount some surprise attacks and be just a little bit more strategic. I think, honestly, that they may need to change around the way that the territory system works and go closer to the old lattice-based system of PlanetSide 1, because it gave you clear objectives, and that was really good for directing the overall flow of the battle. And lastly, I would say a more defensive metagame is always good. Sieges are fun for everybody, for both the defenders and the offense. Rolling over bases where nobody can be bothered to defend them because they know that it's a waste of their time, that's pointless. The best fights you always get in PlanetSide are always defensive-based battles. So we need more of that, and we need the ability to defend bases better in order to make that more viable.
Well, excellent incentive here from Total Biscuit. Thank you very much for joining us at FPS General.